Ickworth House is about 45 kilometres east of Cambridge. Most stately homes focus on the aristocrats who lived in the house, but the first chapter explains the life of a servant. During the time of the visit, the house was undergoing annual cleaning, and so the second chapter explains the conservation measures. The last chapter is a walk around the gardens.
This is where concrete plinths, like the ones over here, stood, and mounted on those were lead acid accumulators. Oh well. So basically, in the part of the building where the bookshop is now, there were two big furnaces, and they generated their own electricity. Now this all starts in about 1909. They generated 110 volts direct current. These insulators here are where bare copper wires ran to carry the current. And it kind of worked like that. Now all that got taken away, so that all that is left is the battery corridor.
Now, this pump works quite. You may have seen them in photos. The village pump and so on. You know, this was a pretty standard bit of equipment for anybody with a well or anything to bring pump water up. But that's the chamber that it would pump. You can imagine this pipe is going up probably about 100 foot. So you've got the weight of that water to pump this. I can do it because there's no back pressure. But it would take somebody 3.5 to 4 hours to fill this, to fill the tank upstairs if it was empty. It's about 8,000 gallons up there. That would have been hard work. However, once they got the electricity on, they had to use one of these things. Now that actual motor is dated 1952, so it's a replacement for the earlier motor, or motors. But the Earl never really trusted it. So he kept it plumbed in to the hand pump. So if the electricity packed up, some poor devil would be here pumping away for 3.5 to 4 hours. Now, the other interesting thing about this particular area is, yes, it's as a carpenter's workshop. But this is, if you like, the dirty area. That's the clean area. That's where you're going into where the kitchens, the storage, and the maids and that would be working from. This is where, if you like, the dirty side. The gardeners would be coming in here, the odd job man would be in here doing it with carpentry and dust and dirt and smoke, but they actually met here. And of course the two sections of servants were virtually separate societies. But the indoor moat, or the dry moat, runs all the way around the rotunda, because it gives access for the servants. Nothing to do with security or anything really. It was so that they could go out, go around and come back in, because they weren't allowed through the family areas. They couldn't cut through, you see. So they had to go in and out of the nearest nearest place and then come around the dry moat. And the interesting things about it was we do have in our records a lot of notes and diaries and so on. And the carpenter here, he had a son. Now, like I said, this was the only place where the two of them would, if like, intermix, because you'd have people coming in from outside to come in here, you'd have them once they go round. So they work 6.5 days a week, so any time off was a real premium. And in order to organise that, the parlourmaid would leave messages with the carpenter to pass on to his son. Then when they would use this as a, if you like, a crossover, a post office. The interesting thing about it, we have those all in documents, and it has a nice fairy tale ending. The two of them end up getting married. To give you an idea of the consumption, there are 24 bays in there. That's an awful lot of wine. So you could at least double, if not triple, stack it. We then come into what we like to refer to as the communications hub. You have the bells up there for the main staterooms, and the 4 bedrooms, the 4 guest bedrooms and dressing rooms that were on the first floor for the guests. This is what the family would have used to ring down for the butler to go up to them. Once he got up there, he would have found out what was required. Now, to save him coming back down again, we have these voice tubes. Used to use them in the Navy. You know, if you ever see an old Navy film, going in a battle and he blows down the pipe and says, "Engine room, give me full steam." Well, exactly, this is what this did. He would blow down one of these upstairs. That is a whistle. When it was blown, it would push that little button out, so you knew which one had been triggered. Then you could listen to what the button was telling you. Now, lady so-and-so, room number so-and-so, wants a jug of hot water.
So yes, we have to look after each of them in turn as and when we can, because there are so many of them. So we don't get to each of them every single year. The ones in the bookcase behind you, we've actually just finished those. We'll finish those just before Christmas. And so we take them off, we clean them, we inventory mark them if they haven't already got their kind of individual number written in them, that translates to their online record so we can keep track of them. And we condition check them, and we clean the shelves, put them back on, and then we're trialing at the moment a fine layer of conservation grade plastic called Melanex. So we're hoping, because we can't get to the books every year, quite a lot of dust does build up on the top of them especially, and we'd like to prevent that. So the plastic goes on, it allows them enough room to breathe, because they've all got quite, protruding bookboards, so there is that little kind of valley in the middle. But hopefully in 5-10 years time, whenever they next get looked at, you can just take the plastic off, wipe the dust down, and actually the dust on the books will be far less, so that the books will stay in a better condition. When we are working with the books, we don't wear gloves. I wouldn't normally wear these, my hands just very cold. So we don't wear gloves. I think it's one of the biggest kind of images people have in their mind of people in archives with white cotton gloves on. But actually, because the pages of our books are so thin, we'd never have the dexterity that we need to be able to work with the books and not tear the pages. So we just keep washing our hands very regularly, take all the oils off our hands, because we get a lot of oil pickup from the books as well as from our own hands, sweat and stuff in summer. We always work with book blocks, because it just provides the book with a little bit more support, means we don't open them too much. When we clean them, this is a fake book, by the way, just in case you think I'm being throwing it around a bit too much. We always start with the top of the book, that top of that spine, which is going to be where the most of the dust lays. We use a pony hairbrush. A lot of our books have uncut pages, which means if we were going to use a hog's hairbrush like the ones you'd have seen earlier, we would have a bigger chance of ripping those pages. And if generations of conservation teams are doing that, then we'll very quickly wear the books away. So we always start from the spine, work our way outwards. We always work into the red museum vacuum that you'd have seen in the Pompeian room. Always brush straight into their nozzles, so that we're not spreading that dust around. If we're doing the winter clean on the rest of it, and then we throw all the dust and everything else, we'll be here for a very long time. Work our way round the book, always away from the spine. We don't want to lodge any of that in there. And then, if this was a real book, I would then swap to a different pony hairbrush just to do all the leather. Just, as I said, to stop that kind of oil transfer to the pages. Over all the spine. The spines, and especially the top of the spines, is where we have a lot of damage. Because if you think if you think about your own bookcases at home, how you'd take the books out and you'd instinctively want to pull it like that. So actually a lot of these are quite damaged because they had the same urge as 200 years ago to just yank a book out. So if you're super careful on the spines, going all over. And then we also don't do every single page, because with 8,000 books, we'd be here forever. We'd never get any of them done. So we just do the first 2 pages and the last 2 pages. Because if you think where the wind blows and you kind of create a little bit of a snowdrift almost at those edges, and that's where most of the dust is going to fall down in. We also don't open the books more than 90 degrees if we can. A lot of them are very delicate on the edges of their spine. One of my colleagues has a great analogy that you wouldn't ask a 90-year-old to do a backflip. I'm sure there are 90-year-olds that can do backflips, and they may have been able to do them at one point in their lives, but you wouldn't expect it of someone in the same way. The same with these books. We want to treat them with the respect that they deserve. If they've lasted 300 years, we'd like to help them last another 300 years. So a lot of people come in and go, oh, but they were meant to be read. Yes, but in 1725. So we can't treat them the same way as we would like to. With our own books, it also gives us a chance to kind of condition check them, make sure there's no pests. Book lice are minuscule, so you have to really pay attention to try and find any of them. We don't have too many problems with book lice. Actually, pests in general, we're pretty good. We don't have too many in the house at the moment, which is nice. But yeah, it's just a good chance to give our books a once over. last year, 2023, we got through about, I think, 1,750 books in here, and then in 2 of our corridors that head down to the east. So we had a huge book project, and we did quite a lot of it in front of the public, and people got to see inside the books, which was really great. Just kind of, we'd like people to see them, because those are, so often you just see the spines of them. So it was a really good opportunity to show a little bit of what was inside. Do you guys have any questions about the books or anything else you've seen or what I'm doing?
How long did it take to actually do a book?
I'd say a small book, kind of like that, I could probably do in about 2 minutes. Some of the bigger books, probably 5 minutes, because there's so much more kind of flipping over, and they're super heavy, especially these ones at the bottom. They're very difficult to kind of manoeuvre, and obviously there's a lot more surface area to clean. With a tiny book, we've got books that are half this size. I could probably do one of those in about a minute. Not that I time myself, it's not a race.
No, it's not.
a lot of money gets poured into this house because the Marquis, as all British aristocrats used to do, had an eye for an heiress. And he married a lady who was not an aristocrat, but came from a family that we would now call industrialists. Her grandfather made a massive amount of money as a railway contractor, and she, on coming to the age of 25, got a share of it. Now by that time she's married to the Marquis. The marriage apparently was opposed by both families. His because she wasn't aristocratic, and hers because he was aristocratic and poor. So they knew where the money was going because there's no married women's property rights. Now she inherited over £1 million in about 1900. So today that was, you can multiply it by 20, 30, 40 possibly. It was an awful lot of money. And it came here. In 1907, when this house, the title actually goes to the Marquis, this house has been neglected for quite a while. It was never the house that was lived in. Where the hotel is now, the East Wing, was finished as a small 60-room Georgian-style mansion, and that's where the family lived. It was a pleasure to take you around Ickworth House to see how servants lived and the conservation work plus garden. The sound quality wasn't as clear as usual, but I hope it made a pleasant change to have someone knowledgeable talk rather than hearing me. Have a great week.